The chandeliers of the Grand Pearl Hall shimmered like frozen stars above my sister Alina's wedding. Crystal glasses sparkled. Silk dresses whispered across marble floors. Soft laughter floated through the air, rehearsed and polished. Everything looked expensive. Everything looked perfect. Everything except me. I stood near the back of the hall, smoothing invisible wrinkles from my simple navy dress. It was elegant but quiet. My mother had warned me twice not to draw attention. Tonight was about Alina, the pride of the family. Successful. Beautiful. The one who married into wealth. Relatives drifted past with polite smiles. "So, what are you doing now?" one aunt asked. Half of them had already asked. Half of them had already lost interest before I finished answering. "I run a cleaning company," I said. Brows lifted slightly. "Oh, that's nice." Nice. The word people use when they mean small. Later, during dinner, I heard my father laughing with his colleagues. "Alina always had ambition," he said proudly. "She was meant for more." Someone asked about me. He waved his hand dismissively. "She just cleans houses." Honest work. The table chuckled politely. "Just cleans houses." The words hit like cold stones. They didn't know about the 4 a.m. mornings scrubbing floors beside the women I hired because I couldn't yet afford managers. They didn't know about the nights I spent studying contracts and tax law through free online courses, terrified of making one mistake that could destroy everything. They didn't know that Sapphire Domestic Services handled luxury villas, corporate towers, and high-end hotels across the city. They only knew what sounded small. Across the hall, Alina stood glowing in ivory silk, smiling effortlessly. I loved my sister. None of this was her fault. But love doesn't erase comparison. My mother rose for a toast. "We are so proud of our daughter Alina," she said warmly. Applause filled the room. Then she added, almost as an afterthought, "And of course we're grateful for our other daughter. She works hard. She just cleans houses." Laughter again. I smiled. Because dignity sometimes wears silence. As the music swelled and the bride and groom took the floor, I made a promise to myself. One day they would say my name without shrinking it. One day no one would dare say just in front of what I built. I stepped onto the balcony for air. The cool wind touched my heated skin. Below, the city lights shimmered. Every glowing window reminded me of spaces I had polished and managed, places admired without anyone wondering who kept them shining. "You shouldn't let them define you like that." I turned. Hassan stood a few steps away, jacket unbuttoned, tie loosened. Up close, he looked less like the perfect groom and more like a man thinking too much. "You should be inside," I said carefully. "It's your wedding." "I know." He hesitated. "Your family underestimates you." "They don't underestimate me," I replied quietly. "They define me." "They're wrong." His tone made me look up. "You're the founder of Sapphire Domestic Services, aren't you?" My heart skipped. "Yes." "My company signed a multi-year property management contract with Sapphire last month." I blinked. "Your company?" "Nadine Development Group," he clarified. 3 commercial towers, 2 hotels, multiple residential projects. Sapphire handles all maintenance and operations. City lights blurred for a moment. "You're telling me my company manages your properties?" He nodded. "And I knew who you were. I always research the leadership behind companies I partner with." I was impressed. Impressed. No one in that ballroom had used that word about me. "You're marrying my sister," I reminded him softly. "Yes." His voice held something unfinished. Inside, Alina laughed as she tossed her bouquet. Outside, beneath the night sky, her groom looked at me not like I was small, but like I was significant. It unsettled me more than the insults ever had. The next morning, the celebration continued with a formal brunch. Polished tables. Gentle violin music. Important guests or investors, distant relatives, business associates my parents admired. This time, I didn't dress to blend in. I wore a tailored white suit. Structured shoulders. Clean lines. Confidence stitched into every seam. My heels echoed against marble with steady rhythm. Conversations paused as I passed. My mother approached immediately. "Why are you dressed like that?" "Like what?" "Like you're presenting something." "Maybe I am." At the front of the hall stood a large projector prepared for sentimental photos. Childhood memories. Engagement portraits. Carefully curated nostalgia. Before the program began, Hassan rose and walked to the microphone. A murmur spread through the room. "I'd like to share something before we continue," he announced. Alina looked surprised but smiled politely, expecting romance. The screen flickered. Instead of childhood photos, a sleek corporate logo appeared. Sapphire Domestic Services. Confusion rippled across the crowd. "As many of you know," Hassan continued, "our recent expansion would not have been possible without a strategic partnership. Charts replaced the logo. Growth statistics, performance metrics, testimonials from luxury clients, photos of pristine hotel lobbies and gleaming office towers." My father leaned forward. "The founder and CEO of that company," Hassan said clearly, "is someone in this room." Silence thickened. He turned toward me. Every head followed his gaze. I walked forward slowly. My heart pounded, but my spine remained straight. "I started cleaning houses," I said into the microphone, "because we needed money. Because no job is beneath dignity." The room was completely still. "Yes," I continued, meeting my parents' stunned expressions. "I clean houses. I clean offices. I clean luxury hotels and corporate towers. I also built a company that employs over a dozen women who were once told they were just something too." A single clap began from a business guest. Then another. Then many. This time, the applause wasn't polite. It was real. My mother's eyes filled with tears. My father looked frozen. Alina's smile shifted into something complicated, a shock, confusion, perhaps even betrayal. But this wasn't cruelty. It was revelation. When the crowd began to disperse, my mother approached me. "Why didn't you tell us?" she asked, voice trembling. "I tried," I said gently. "You never asked." My father joined us, quieter than I had ever seen him. "We thought it was small work." "You didn't try to understand," I corrected softly. "There's a difference." Later, Alina found me near the dessert table. "Did you plan this?" she asked. "No," I answered honestly. "I didn't plan to be hidden either." Her eyes flickered. "This was my day. I never wanted to take it from you," I said. "I just stopped shrinking." Silence stretched between us, years of comparison neither of us created, yet both forced to carry. Over the following weeks, everything shifted. Relatives who once pitied me asked for business cards. Invitations to networking events arrived. My phone filled with partnership inquiries. The same people who had said just now said visionary, impressive, strategic. It was almost ironic. But the sweetest part wasn't recognition. It was freedom. 1 month later, I sat in my office overlooking the city skyline. Contracts for expansion into new cities lay open on my desk. Sapphire Domestic Services was growing faster than I imagined. Hassan sat across from me, not as my sister's groom, but as a business partner. "You changed the narrative," he said quietly. "No," I replied, signing the final page. "I stopped letting others write it." Outside the window, the city gleamed. Towers my company maintained. Spaces my team protected. Proof of every early morning and every silent tear. My parents eventually introduced me differently. "This is our daughter," they would say. "She built a company. No shrinking. Because revenge isn't loud. It's standing tall in the same room where you were once made small and realizing you no longer need anyone's permission to shine."